I remember the day it hit me clearly. I was sitting alone in my car outside a grocery store, engine off, hands on the steering wheel. I had gone in to buy milk and bread, nothing special. When I came back out, I just sat there. I don't know why. I watched people walk past me with their bags, their phones pressed to their ears, their faces busy. And suddenly I felt very small, not scared, just tired. Tired in a way sleep doesn't fix. I realized I had spent most of my life worried about what every one of those people might think of me, and none of them even noticed I was there. I'm 72 now, almost 73. My hands shake a little when I hold a cup. My knees remind me when rain is coming. But that day in the car, I felt older than my body. I felt like time had quietly slipped past me while I was looking the other way. I wasn't always like this. When I was young, I didn't think about worry. It came slowly, like dust settling on furniture. You don't see it at first. You just wake up one day and everything feels heavier. I grew up in a small house with thin walls. You could hear everything: plates clinking, shoes by the door, voices through the night. My father worked long hours. My mother cared about what the neighbors thought, not in a cruel way, just careful. She would fix her hair before stepping outside. She would lower her voice if someone walked by. I learned early that being watched was part of life. At school, I tried hard not to stand out. I watched how other boys talked and laughed and copied them. If they liked something, I liked it too. If they made fun of someone, I stayed quiet. I learned that quiet was safe. Quiet didn't draw attention. Quiet didn't get you laughed at. When I got my first job, that habit followed me. I wore the right clothes. I laughed at the boss's jokes even when I didn't understand them. I stayed late because others stayed late. I said yes more than I should have. I told myself this was what being responsible looked like. Life settled it into a rhythm. Wake up early, shave, breakfast, drive to work. Same road every day, same traffic lights. At work, I kept my desk neat. I didn't decorate it much. A family photo, that's all. I didn't want anyone asking questions. At lunch, I ate what everyone else ate. Sandwiches, soup, coffee that tasted burned but felt familiar. At home, evenings were quiet. Dinner at the table, television on, but nobody really watching. I would ask my wife about her day. She would ask about mine. We answered honestly but briefly, not because we didn't care, but because we were tired. After dinner, I would sit in my chair and think about things I should have said at work, things I shouldn't have said, looks on people's faces I tried to read too deeply. Years passed like that. I didn't notice them leaving. One birthday blended into the next. I measured time by paychecks, by holidays, by how tall the kids were getting. I thought I was doing everything right. I was providing, I was being steady, I was being the kind of man people respect. But inside, I was always checking myself. Did I talk too much? Did I sound foolish? Did they think I was lazy? Did they think I was boring? Even at family gatherings, I felt it. Sitting at the table, smiling, nodding, wondering if I was saying the right thing. There were small moments I ignored, moments when I wanted to speak but didn't, when I wanted to take a different job but stayed where I was, when I wanted to tell someone I loved them more clearly but assumed they already knew. I remember one afternoon at work. A younger man asked me what I really wanted to do before I retired. It was casual. We were standing by the coffee machine. I laughed and said something safe. He nodded and walked away. I stood there longer than I should have, staring at the empty cup in my hand. I realized I didn't know the answer. Or maybe I did, but I had buried it so deep that it felt dangerous to dig up. The turning point didn't come with noise. It came quietly, the way most important things do. My wife got sick, not suddenly, slowly. Doctor visits, waiting rooms, the smell of disinfectant. I sat beside her, holding her hand, worrying about saying the wrong thing. Even then, I wanted to be strong. I wanted to look like I had it together. Inside, I was afraid all the time. When she died, the house changed. The walls felt farther apart. Meals became simple: toast, soup, things that didn't make dishes. The television stayed off more. I noticed the sound of the clock for the first time. Tick, tick, tick. People came by at first. They told me I was handling it well. I nodded. I thanked them. I worried about looking too sad or not sad enough. Then slowly, the visit stopped. Life went on for everyone else. It always does. In the silence, memories came back, not big ones, small ones. Times I had stayed quiet to avoid judgment. Times I had chosen approval over honesty. None of it felt dramatic, just empty. I retired a few years later. On my last day, people shook my hand. They wished me well. Someone brought cake. I smiled for photos. Then, I walked out with a box of my things. Papers, a mug, that same family photo, older now. The parking lot looked the same as it always had. I sat in my car for a moment, unsure where to go next. Retirement gave me time, but also space. Space to think. Space to notice things I had ignored. I noticed how often I had lived for an audience that wasn't really there, how many choices I had made based on imagined opinions. I started seeing friends less, not because I didn't care, but because I didn't know who I was without the roles I played: worker, husband, provider. When those labels faded, I felt exposed. One evening, I found an old notebook in a drawer, notes I had written years ago, ideas, thoughts, little dreams. I read them slowly. Some made me smile, some made my chest ache. I had worried so much about what people might think if I followed those thoughts that I never did. I don't feel angry about it, just quietly sad. Sad for the time that slipped by while I was trying to look right instead of feel right. Now, when I sit alone at night, I think about how short conversations could have been longer, how friendships could have been deeper, how love could have been spoken more plainly. I still worry sometimes. Old habits don't leave easily, but the worry feels different now, softer, less important. If there is one thing age gives you, it's clarity, not answers, just clarity. You see how little most people were watching you, how busy they were with their own fears. If I could speak to my younger self, I wouldn't lecture him. I wouldn't tell him what to do. I would just tell him that time moves faster than you think, and silence has a way of turning into regret if you let it. If you're listening to this and someone came to mind while I was talking, maybe reach out to them. Say something simple. It doesn't have to be perfect. Perfect doesn't matter as much as we think it does. If you have your own story, I'd like to hear it. You can share it in the comments. And if you want to hear more thoughts like this, you can subscribe. We're all just passing time together after all.